watching Dween Sports.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Janoah Agudelo, and I am one of the co-hosts here at Doing Sports. And today, I'm coming at you guys with a tutorial on how to play fantasy football. Now, I do want to say Justin and I here at Doing Sports are absolutely so excited for this 2026 NFL season. Justin and I have been playing fantasy football for about 13 years now. We're so excited to be doing our 13th year of fantasy football together. So we, decided to kind of help you guys, for there may be some beginners out there, to teach you guys and give you the basics on how to play fantasy football. So you might be thinking, Janoah, what is fantasy football? Fantasy football is a game that NFL, fanatics across the world, millions and millions of NFL fanatics and fans play fantasy football. And it pretty much consists of drafting your own team, right? There's 32 teams in the NFL, 32 quarterbacks. There's 32 different running backs plus different bench players. And there's tons of wide receivers across 32 players. So it all multiplies. And whatever they do in real life, if they're on your team, if you pick them and you started them, whatever they do in real life, you get points for, right? Okay. That's kind of covers the basic. Now, Noah, how does it really work, right? Like, how do I join it, right? How do I join it? Well, glad you asked. Fantasy football has different sizes of leagues, right? You can do an 8-man, a 10-man, a 12-man. Now, and this means how many people are in your league. This can be players that are family and friends and coworkers and different people that do watch football and kind of play all in for one, right? So, that's kind of like the basics of it, right? And you may be asking, okay, cool. But what do I play for? Like, what is the main objective? Like, what are you playing for, right? In real life, the NFL has the Super Bowl, right? What is the fantasy football's equivalent to the Super Bowl? Well, I'm glad you asked. Every league is different, right? And it all comes down to the agreement you and your league mates kind of agreed upon, right? So some leagues do buy-ins, right? Each player puts in 50 or 100 or $200 and they all add it up in the pot, and the winner at the end of the NFL season wins that pot of money, right? Or in some other leagues, they play for a trophy, or in other leagues, they play for just bragging rights. And a lot of other leagues, they do fantasy punishments, which if you have the worst record and you finish last in your fantasy football league, then you're going to be required to do a punishment. So it's all based on your league and your league mates and what they all decide. It's all usually a collective vote. So that's pretty much the basic, right? And your next question may be, where do you go to play, Janoah? Where do you go to play fantasy football? Like, where do I have to go somewhere? Do I have to leave my house and drive somewhere? I mean, I'm a homebody. I don't want to do all that. No worries there. Fantasy football is 100% online. Now, you can do your draft in person. Like, it's pretty fun to have all your league mates in person where you all draft. It usually takes an hour or two, or which a lot of people do this now because a lot of people live in certain parts of the world. You can do this online. So thankfully, you can do this online. And, where can you do it specifically? Well, this website right here, ESPN, which is my favorite, you can do it on ESPN.com. You can do it on Sleeper. You can do it on Yahoo. You can do it on NFL.com. I mean, there's tons of NFL or fantasy football format websites that you can do. And luckily, all of them do have apps that you can see on your phone, your iPad, your computer, whatever it is that you desire. There's apps for all fantasy football websites that you and your league mates decide to do the draft on and have your teams on. Okay, cool. All right, but I want a little bit more of a breakdown, right? Like, how does it really work? Well, I'm going to take you to one of my leagues that has not been drafted yet. And I'm going to teach you how it kind of works. Now, we have not drafted our leagues yet, but this is how it works, right? Each week you have a different opponent, right? Here's all my league mates right here. And everybody, has their own players, right? So here's my starting lineup when I do draft my team, and here is my bench. So what I decide to start when I draft, all these players are going to show up, and this is my opponent of that week. They're going to start the players they want, and I'm going to start the players that I want. And it kind of breaks down from, your own desire, your own skill base, what you know, and the season is going to start week 1 and it's going to last all the way to week 17 or 18, depending on what your league decides. Here in this league, particularly, we have this go all the way to week 17, which week 1 through 14 is like the regular season. And then week 15 through 17th is the playoffs. So how it kind of works here is here's all my league mates, right? And pretty much there's going to be standings each week. I'm going to be playing someone different, right? So you see how it goes through week 1 all the way through, week, 12, 14. Each week I'm going to be playing someone different, right? You see my team right here. Each week I'm going to be playing someone different. And so that's kind of how fantasy football works. It's all based on what your league decides, right? Your league manager, Justin, decides the scoring, right? He decides, when playoffs start. He decides when the draft. So it all depends on your league, right? And it all depends on the schedule, right? So every week you're going to be facing someone different, and it all contains within your league. So this league is a 10-man league. Some leagues are 8-man, some leagues are 12-man. So it all depends on it happens. So pretty much fantasy football is you draft your players, you start lineups. There's bench players, which you put them on your bench. You still have ownership of them, but whatever they do on your bench, you don't really get credit for. But if they're in your starting lineup, you do get credit for. And in the end, right? In the end, so you see this right here, there's going to be a scoring breakdown, right? So as I can go to Fantasy Cast here, there's going to be a number around. So all these players on each side add up all the totals, and it's pretty much going to determine, right, who wins that league. So if all my players score 10, 20, it's all going to be add up. It's going to be a total, and whoever has the highest total wins that matchup. So if all my players together score 120 and all his players right here on the right score 90, then I win because 120 to 90, I win that matchup. And the next week I play someone different. Now, the whole month of August is preseason, so you don't have to worry about anything in preseason. All of August is usually where people get together and draft their teams, and the league is going to the fantasy football season starts week 1, September 9th, where the Seattle Seahawks open up against the Patriots. And many different apps are built different, but this is how ESPN is built. So that's kind of how fantasy football works. You draft your players, you start them in your lineup, and whatever they do from Wednesday to Monday night, you get credit for. And each week, right? Each week, there's a winner and there's a loser, and there's a standings, and each player can go 1-0, 0-1. It just depends who wins that matchup. And it all leads to the fantasy football playoffs, which start week 14, which is like the end of November. And it leads up to the winner, which is week 17, which is like the second or third week of December. Pretty much Christmas time is the championship. And there's only 2 teams that remain. And depending on your league decisions, for me, it's like top 3 best teams at the end of the year win the money or win the trophy or win whatever prize that you guys came together and decided, right? Okay. So you start your players, you have points, and then now, you decide. But it all starts with, guys, the fantasy football draft. So if for the sake of this video, I'm going to do a mock draft there to help you guys kind of understand how it all starts. And these drafts always take place in all of August, right? You want to do your drafts a week before the season starts, so you know who's in and who's out. And I'm going to teach you guys to draft. So we go right here. Here is a mock draft. And for the sake of this video, obviously I mentioned there's, tons of different formats of fantasy drafts and fantasy football leagues. There's super flex, there's dynasty, rotisserie, but this is just a standard 10-man team, which is PPR, which stands for points per reception. So whatever your player does, your running back, your wide receiver, your tight end, if they get a catch, it's usually 0.5 point or 1 point, which is sort of set by your league manager. But for the sake of this video, this is a 10-man league. You're going to see you're going to see names pop up. These are just people around the world joining this league. My name's Janoah. This is going to be my team. And you see this number right next to it. There's the number 5. I can kind of choose where I want to pick. For the sake of this video, I'm going to pick at number 5. And that is the draft order, right? So you see where this 26 seconds is up. In the next minute, I'm going to be able to join the draft room, right? And that's going to show me everything I need to know to start my fantasy football season. Now, the draft is always considered the most fun part of the season. I think that as well. I think also week 1 is very fun for the first Sunday. Also love playoffs if you make it to the playoffs. But you see all these names are popping up. This is how your leagues are going to be based, right? This is a mock draft. So this is not going to be a team that I'm going to get to keep, but this is kind of like mock drafts pretty much mean practice. So you see right here, the draft room is open. I'm going to enter the draft and show you how it looks here. So pretty much the draft, this is the board right here, right? You see how the number 5 was next to my name before I got to enter the draft room. That means I'm picking 5th overall, right? So the first pick of the draft, you get to pick the best player available, which I must say you must know your player rankings. You have to know a lot of the players there. You have to know who's the best player available in each round. So ESPN has Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back for Detroit, as the best player available to start every draft. But once someone picks him, he is gone. So you have Jahmyr Gibbs. You have Bijan Robinson, running back for Atlanta. You have Puka Nacua, who wide receiver for LA. He had a monster year last year, right? He won people's leagues last year because he had a dominant playoff run. You also have Jamar Chase, who's been around for a couple of years, Cincinnati wide receiver. And I will say running backs, which is what you see right here in orange, their position, and wide receivers are the most coveted positions in the draft, right? You are going to pick quarterbacks. You are going to pick tight ends. You are going to pick defenses and kicker, but you want to have the most depth at running back and wide receiver because that is one of what's going to win you your leagues, right? So you look right here, right? Here are their starting lineups, meaning right here, quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, a defensive kicker. That's your starting lineup. That's what you're going to get credit for. So as you see right here, the draft is going to start. I'm going to look at the board here. So Jahmyr Gibbs does get picked first, which is why he is gone here on the player list. Cody picked him up. Now we have Tyler, who did pick Bijan Robinson. He is gone here on the list. I know this is a lot of stuff going on at once. Just bear with me. There's a lot of playback. You can look through this video and help yourself out as you get ready for the fantasy football draft. So the first 4 picks happen. You notice how I picked 5th. This is my team. It's my turn to pick with my knowledge and my, pass of playing fantasy football. I'm going to pick Jamar Chase right here. So I always get 30 seconds. These timers are set by your league mate. Sometimes it's 30, a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Jamar Chase right here. And you see him appear on my starting lineup. The best player is always going to go first, and it's going to kind of fade down through round 16, right? Okay. So you notice how this is a snake draft. It's going to go here and it's going to come back to me eventually. So kind of works is if you get the first pick, there's pros and cons to him, right? So you see Jahmyr Gibbs, the best player available. He got picked first, but Cody's going to wait a while, as you see here, to get his pick. So he's going to wait, like 18, 19 picks before he picks. But luckily for me, I picked 5th. So it's not going to be that far away before I pick my second player. Now, before I pick my second player, before you pick your players, it is very important to know who you're going to pick. So you see this button right here. Every fantasy football website, NFL.com, ESPN, they all have the queue, right? But luckily for me, it is my turn to pick. It came back to me. And so I see, you have to make a decision here. Do I want to pick running back or another wide receiver? Knowing what I know in fantasy football, I see Jamar Chase, but I also see Justin Jefferson. I want to pair them two together. So I'm going to draft Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. So Justin Jefferson is my second pick. So you see right here, I am good for wide receivers for a little bit, right? I am good because I have Jamar Chase and Jefferson. Those are the best players available for me at each round. So remember how I said wide receivers and running backs are the most coveted position, right? So since I have 2 wide receivers picked, I want to start preparing to pick a running back. And luckily for us, there's this thing called a queue, which I can queue players and have them here on my list before they get to me. Now, these players might disappear because other players might pick them. So once they are picked, I am not able to pick them up. So, and my strategy, right? I want to pick a running back very soon because I have 2 wide receivers. And like I mentioned, I need running backs and wide receivers. So you look right here. It is my turn to pick. So I'm going to go here and pick a running back. Now, knowing what I know, this past NFL draft, the Cardinals picked Jeremiah Love, but I'm a little hesitant to pick a running back that early. So I'm going to kind of take things a different direction and go with Breece Hall. So since I picked Breece Hall, you're going to see him right here on my team, meaning that no one else is going to be able to get him. Once you draft that player, they are yours. They are your player for the year unless you drop them or you trade them. So looking at the draft board now, how it worked, it went this way. I got Jamar Chase. Other people picked their, players. It came back to me right here, and I got Jefferson, and it went this way down here, and then I got Brees Hall. And now you see it moving all the way here. There's Nico got picked, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, Lad McConkey, Zay Flowers, and I'm going to be next here after Jack's picks. And now it is my turn, right? So now it's my turn to pick again. You know what? I need another running back to fill this slot because these two running back slots and these two running back slots are the most important position to fill when you start your draft. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Kyron Williams, Los Angeles Rams running back. Now you look right here, you'll see him right here and you'll see him right here. Now, I'm going to say this a lot throughout this video. Running backs and wide receivers are the most sacred and coveted positions in fantasy football. You need to have a good amount of depth to win your fantasy leagues and win your weekly matchups because, injuries happen and performance issues happens where there's players that are not playing good. You need to bench them because you need the best player scoring the highest points possible for your starting lineups. But there's also injuries every year in fantasy football. I promise you guys, this happens every year. People get hurt. They don't play certain weeks and you can't leave them in your lineup. You have to put someone that is playing, or you see this right here where it says bye week, where my mouse is. Every player has a different bye week. And what bye week means is bye as in not playing that week. So you see Cam Scatterboo right here. His bye week is week 8, meaning week 8 of the NFL season, he's not going to be playing. The Giants, you see his team in his position, week 8, he is not going to be playing. You see Bucky Irving right here. His team, Tampa Bay, will not be playing week 10. Every player is different. Some have the same, some don't. So as you see right here, it is my turn to pick. Looking at right here, I want to stack up as much running backs and wide receivers as possible. So looking at what's best available, I'm looking at what I know. I like me some T. Higgins, but since I have Jamar Chase on the same team, I'm going to pick a running back here. I know I'm running out of time here. I'm going to go with Travion Henderson here, running back out of New England, who had a pretty break off back half of the year in 2020-25. So looking at the draft board here so far, there's 16 picks you're going to make, and you're going to need to pick different positions to fill every slot. Now, a quick tip here that I have for you guys, quick advice from Janoah here at Doing Sports. It is good to wait on quarterback. Don't rush to wait quarterback. There are tons of quarterbacks ready to go. As I look at quarterbacks here, Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence and Dak Prescott and Stafford, the reigning MVP of last year, Caleb Williams, who helped me win a championship last year. You can wait on, quarterbacks. The best, I'm going to repeat myself a lot through this video. The best, position to stack up on is running backs and wide receiver. So looking at what I see right here, I have 2 wide receivers and I have 3 running backs. I want to go ahead and get myself another wide receiver, and that could be anybody. These wide receivers right here are phenomenal, but I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin here. So you can see your team here where it has your roster, and you can also look at other people's teams, right? If you're talking smack with your team, Justin, his team kind of sucks because he has so-and-so players. You can do that, but I'm going to go back to my team and show you what I have so far. So you can look at my team here on the left and you can see how I draft them. So you see the blue are wide receivers and the orange are running backs. So you have to stack up on running backs and wide receivers. Now, notice right here where my mouse is kind of shaking. There are roster limits. Sometimes it's 6 per running back and wide receiver. It all depends on what your league manager set up. For the sake of this video and this mock draft, it is set out of 8. So I can only pick a max of 8 running backs, 8 wide receivers, 4 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, and, kickers, which is not common. You're going to need to see right here where this is your starting lineup and this is your bench. You see where it says BE? That's your bench. Those are players that you still have ownership of, but whatever they do each week, you are not going to get credit for because they are not in your starting lineups. Now, you might be kind of freaked out. Well, Janoah, what if they're not in my starting lineup? No worries. You have 3 days between each team. You have from Tuesday to Thursday. Sometimes if they don't play till Sunday, you'll have time to decide whether if you want to play them or not. If you have alerts on your players, you'll know if they're playing or not. Now, you'll only know that if, they're injured. So if there's a player that's battling an injury and he's kind of questionable, you'll know a good amount of time before the game starts if they're playing or not. So it is my pick a game. I'm looking again, and I'm looking at what I need. Mind you, I have 3 running backs and 3 receivers. Let's keep this going, right? I want to have as much depth as possible. And as I look here, I have 3 good running backs and 3 wide receivers. I want to pick another running back. Let's go ahead and get Jadarian Price from the Seattle Seahawks. So now I have 4 running backs and 3 wide receivers. You might be looking at me like, okay, Janoah, are you going to pick a running back or excuse me, a quarterback soon? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to wait just a little bit because guys, quarterbacks are a dime in a dozen. As we look right here, you can set these, drafts. These are all the quarterbacks available. You still have Matt Stafford, who's the MVP of this league. You still have Caleb Williams, who won me a championship. You still see Justin Herbert, who is going to be good this year with a new offensive coordinator. You see Trevor Lawrence right here, who had a great back half of 2025. Dak Prescott, who's in shootouts all the time. Bo Nix, who's on one of the best teams in the league. So now it's my turn to pick again. I know this draft is going fast. That's because everybody's on auto lock. These drafts, guys, is always going to take a lot longer than what's going on here right now because a lot of people are on auto pick. But in real life, when you pick with your teammates, there's going to be a lot more time between rounds. Now, I'm going to pick a quarterback just to show you how it looks. So I'm going to pick Dak Prescott here because he is a great fantasy quarterback and he has 2 good receivers in George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And he also has a great tight end in Ferguson. So that's why I picked him here. Now, you look at it right here. You see all the blues here. Those are the wide receivers. You see all the orange here. These are the running backs that I picked. And then now you see this pink here. This is the quarterback I picked. Now, you look across all different leagues. People are picking quarterbacks. Now, I want to go back to what I was talking to earlier about the bye weeks. It's very important when you're picking a quarterback on to know which bye weeks that they have. So you see right here, Dak Prescott, you see how it says bye? Every player has a bye week. Every different player, if they're not on the same team, has a bye week, meaning, like I mentioned earlier, they are not going to be playing that week. So there's 17 weeks of the fantasy football season. Week 14, my quarterback's not going to play. So it's very important later on in this draft that I pick a player that's not playing the same week as Dak Prescott. So for the sake of that take, I'm going to look at quarterbacks right here. And you see how the bye week's here. So since Dak Prescott is off week 14, I want to get a player that has a different bye week. I don't want to get 2 quarterbacks that are bye week of 14. So since Caleb Williams has a bye week of 10, I'm going to pick Caleb Williams. So when Dak Prescott is off week 14, I'm going to start Caleb Williams as my quarterback because Caleb Williams has a bye week of 10. And it's good to get 2 quarterbacks with different bye weeks. So that way, when Dak Prescott is off, I can start Caleb Williams. Also, it's also good to know that injuries happen. So if Dak Prescott gets hurt, I have a backup quarterback to slide right in here. I don't have to worry about dropping anybody or trading anybody because I have 2 quarterbacks on me right here. Now, I want to look at who's best available here. And I see that I have 4 running backs, but guys, running backs is the most important position in fantasy football. It is very important to have as much running backs as possible. So since I see Chuba Hubbard here, I know that he's going to be the starter for Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and draft him. Look, he's going to show up right here on my team. And look, here's the draft board. We're getting closer to the end of this draft. It's moving quickly, but I want to assure you that fantasy football drafts move slower than what you see right here. This is just sped up for the purpose of this video. Drafts usually last an hour to 2 hours long, depending on if it's offline or online. So you see my lineup right here. You see how tight end is empty. I'm going to go ahead and pick a tight end. And I look at the tight ends that are all available. Here's Ferguson. Here's Dallas Goedert. Now, here's a strategy that you can do, right? I'm going to pick Jake Ferguson as my tight end. Notice that position is filled up. But you notice I have Dak Prescott. He's the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And I look right here, Jake Ferguson, he's the tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. That's why you see week 14 bye here and a week 14 bye there. Now, it's very important to know that whatever these players do, you're going to add points together. Now, you see right here real quick, I'm drafting this draft is moving really fast, guys, because just for the sake of this video, I look right here, guys. Here's a bunch of talent left here. I'm going to pick, let's see, I need a wide receiver because I only have 3. I'm going to go ahead and pick Deebo Samuel because he just signed with the San Francisco 49ers and he has a history of being a pretty good player for the 49ers, right? So I look right here. I have 2 quarterbacks. I have 2 running backs. I have 2 wide receivers. Now, what I was kind of explaining just a second ago, when you have a quarterback on the same team and a wide receiver on the same team or a tight end on the same team, that's going to actually help you out. Because if Dak Prescott throws a touchdown pass to Jake Ferguson, they're on the same team. They're both on the Dallas Cowboys. You're going to get double points for each. So that's a strategy to use, guys, for you beginning fantasy football players. It's always kind of fun to have two players on the same team if there's a quarterback and a wide receiver or a quarterback and a tight end, because if that quarterback goes to that tight end, you get points for that, and that boosts your chances on winning your match. Now, obviously, I'm out of time here for this pick, so I'm going to go ahead and pick Casey Concepcion, who is the rookie for the Cleveland Browns. Now, I want to add another thing. I know I'm throwing a lot of things at you guys, but it is very important to know rookies as well. Rookies I want to mention, like I just picked Casey Concepcion. He could be a breakout rookie for the Cleveland Browns. Also, Mekhi Lemon. He's the new wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. I know we kind of talked about other play, but there's also Jeremiah Love, who, I think I talked about earlier, or you saw earlier in the list. He's the, running back for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I know you guys are thinking, wow, you're picking really quickly. That's because this draft is sped up here for kind of to get you guys to understand. I'm going to pick Alvin Kamara. Now, guys, towards the end of the draft, it is very recommended to pick up a kicker, pick up a defense. Now, defense and kickers get picked kind of early between rounds 12 and 16 here. I know kickers like Brandon Aubrey is going to get picked up pretty quickly. I know like the kicker for Seattle Seahawks is pretty good. Defenses are also. So you look at the kickers here. This is the purple. You're going to need a kicker. I'm going to fill up these two slots here. So this draft is coming to an end, guys. So you see right here, this draft is fully filled. It went by quickly just for the purpose of this. But usually drafts take an hour to two, depending on if you guys have it online, if it's in person, that your league makes it a minute per pick. It all depends on what your league is. So now it's my turn to pick. I do see that I can pick a defense or a kicker because I do need to fill up these two slots here. So I do see that the Rams are available. I'm going to pick the Rams defense because Myles Garrett is there in LA. They might get Aaron Donald there back, one of the best defensive players of all time. And the last position for me to pick, which is usually common, is kicker. So I'm using that look at these kickers are disappearing here. That's because kickers are the most common position to be picked at the end of drafts. So guys, don't worry on picking kickers up until round 13. Don't worry about picking defenses until round 12, 13, 14, they're in. So it's my turn to pick. This is my last pick. I'm going to pick my fellow Houston Texans kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn. And look, the draft is over, guys. Look at this. I drafted a whole team. Once I draft this whole team, I'm going to be able to look at my team, and these are the players that are going to be on my fantasy team for the 2026 season. No one can take them off my team. You look right here to the left. This is my starting lineups: Dak Prescott, Breece Hall, Kyren Williams, Jamar Chase, Jefferson, on and so on. These are my starting lineups. So whatever they do for me in real life, I'm going to get points for and hope that they all add up and to outscore whoever team that my opponent has. And when they, once I draft them all, I know you're not going to be able to see them here because that was a mock draft, but when you actually draft, they're going to all appear right here. And then you're going to be able to go right here and you're going to be able to decide who you want to pick. So there's going to be an option once I do have my team to edit them if I want to start them, and they're going to have all the stats that I need to know. And it is going to show right here. Now, one last thing before I end this video, it's very important to know when these players play. So if I have Drake May and he plays for the Patriots, it's very important to know that he plays Wednesday, 7:20. He has to be in your starting lineups or he will get locked. If his game starts at 7:20, once 7:20 hits, you are not allowed to move him in and out of your lineup because obviously that's cheating. You have to know when these players play, and you have to know if they're injured or they're on their bye week. So it's very important that, obviously you're not going to watch Sunday football all day like I do, but it's very important to keep tabs on your players, guys. So as I end this video, I want to let you know, guys, that fantasy football is so much fun. Once you the draft is the first step, right? You have to know your players, but once you draft your players, they'll all show up right here, and your league opponent will be able to decide who he wants to start. And whatever they do in real life, guys, you will get points for. It will add up, and whoever wins that matchup, it'll show you all the points that are added up together on this side, and whoever has the most points at each week wins their matchup. As you look right here, here are matchups throughout my other league that happens. So you get to see, oh, my friend here, Miss OB, he's losing, right? That's my uncle. He's losing. That's how you can see what's going on in your league. And it all adds up to wins and losses. Each week, every person will have a win, or some people will have losses. You'll get to see all different kinds of stats there. But this is just the beginner's video there, guys. I want to thank you guys if you're, just starting fantasy football. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I know there's so much that I kind of went over. I might have overstimulated you guys, but feel free to kind of watch this video in portions because fantasy football is so much fun, but it also requires some skill and some strategy. It is 50% skill and 50% luck. I want to kind of also add in that the waiver wire is very important to add players and pick up players throughout the season. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That is my kind of how to play fantasy football 101 for you guys that are just starting to play fantasy football. Or maybe you played last year and need a little bit more insight there. I am glad to have helped you out here, guys. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. This was how to play fantasy football 101 here in 2026. If you're new here, give a like, give us a subscribe here to our channel, Doing Sports. And we're very, very excited to kind of break down the fantasy football year for you guys. Justin and I will be uploading waiver wire pickups, starts of the weeks, all that good stuff each week to help you guys win your fantasy matchup, beat your league mates, and to have bragging rights and win your cash prizes that were set in your fantasy football leagues, guys. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching. That is all for today. We love you guys here at Doing Sports. And as always, peace.